rarely do we pause to consider that primarily suffering arises in the mind. It's the product of your thoughts. Whether the thoughts are having to do with goals, expectations, whether towards yourself or the world. Usually it's in regards to the world, expecting things. The sky to be blue tomorrow when you wake up. Expecting to wake up healthy, etc. The body. The chatter that's going on is constant, ongoing, to the point where we as a species, especially during the last couple of hundred years, or specifically after the Industrial Revolution, where we moved away from working with our hands, really engaging with our bodies, kinesthetically, lifting, moving things, using our hands and feet to touch the soil, for example, to touch the trees, to pluck flowers or wheat, grass, things like that. Engage by working with the soil and waking up early at sunrise or before the sunrise to meet and greet the sun, to have your eyes pick up the sun's rays early in the morning. All of these factors mean that you are engaging with life on a truly visceral level. So we've moved away from that. So we have tried to and have been trying to substitute these very critical, important aspects of healthy living, which we have been trained, thanks to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years of evolution. Suddenly we've changed. So this is, even though it's 200 years or so, 150, 200 years, really it's nothing. It's insignificant because you have there, behind that, a huge chunk of time where we respond to relaxation in a different way, somatically, through the body, by engaging with the body, minus the thinking. Just enough thinking is necessary, just enough. Now the scales have been imbalanced, and they have been imbalanced, things have been topsy-turvy, lopsided, you name it, for the last X amount of years. You go to school, you go to university, you read books, this and that. We add ideas, and have been adding ideas specifically in regards to relieving that suffering I was talking about, that we're experiencing. How? Through the means of books, the contents of books. Well, what are the contents of books? What do we mean by that? Ideas of the authors, of philosophies and things, and what people have been teaching us. One of the dangers that is always going to be there for those who want to understand and live life more fully is to not be able to distinguish. That's why it's called a danger. Distinguish between digested knowledge and undigested knowledge. And in order for us to digest, we need to incorporate whatever it is that we are studying, learning, and to really embody it. Not becoming masters at verbalizing that teaching or summarizing it or giving a shorter version of it, which would again be an intellectual endeavor. But to have that be utilized, applied into your own life, specifically in your body. So whatever you're studying needs to affect your body. That's what I'm trying to get to. And any teaching, any idea, any thought you have, whether it's from something that spontaneously happens, let's say, within you, like an insight, or something that you become inspired by, let's say, through reading books and things, listening to talks. Sooner or later, you need to bring it in, bring it home. You have to taste it. You have to taste the recipe. You have to cook it. You have to bake it. You have to make it your own. That's when the intellectual stuff that you've gathered doesn't stay so, doesn't linger on as intellectual stuff for you to advocate for or try to justify or try to convince people, other people, by telling them about these ideas of yours. They're not yours anyhow, because you never digested them. But once you have truly made it part and parcel of your life, your own living experience, you don't even have to remember them. So you have nothing to carry with you. This is when, basically, a situation when thoughts, your thoughts that have been plaguing you, weighing you down. The other day, we were talking about this, and I was saying how thoughts are what we run after. They have been and will continue to weigh us down like a huge cargo ship full of containers, thousands of them. That's how heavy of a burden thoughts can become. So to seek out a relief through the means of more thoughts is another definition of stupidity. But that's what we do. We try to get another idea, we pluck out, we go listen to this person, this teacher, that book, this lecture, this YouTube, I don't know, something. So we add that onto the repertoire of other thoughts and ideas. Well, wait a minute, if the other thoughts were good, really, that I've been hoarding, collecting, then why in the world do I need to go and look for more? Because they should have done the job. At least some of them, or at least one of them, done the job, as in reduced the suffering. And suffering begins in the mind, first and foremost. It manifests in the form of, eventually, intellectual chatter, and then it manifests in the form of physical anxiety, physical manifestations of stress. So these would be a newer, modern version of discussing the sankharas, taught by Lord Buddha. The sankharas are sometimes called the formations. They're the preparations. They are the igniting. They are the generative causes. The conditioned factors, the momentum that we have in the form of thoughts feelings, perceptions, which if we allow to linger and we don't address it very quickly by releasing the tension that they're creating in the body, because when you have a thought, there's an automatic reaction that manifests in the form of tension in the body somewhere. Usually it's the same spot because of habitual patterns, habitually going there. It might have been an injury, propensity that you have. So some area of your body that is more or most vulnerable to a sense of being threatened. And that's what, by the way, thoughts do. They make you become threatened. And now, what is that? Being threatened. It is a sudden manifestation of a state of dis-ease, discomfort, pain, suffering. And this is what the Buddha was talking about constantly when he says dukkha. The truth of dukkha must be seen. But how can you see it if you continue on your constant quest to get more ideas, more teachings, more doctrines, more substitutions to come and put another layer of paint to thicken this suffering, to cover it up, the pain you're in, by getting new ideas. So first we need to digest that. So engaging the body is crucial. Engaging the body in the process of developing the mind is crucial. You cannot develop the mind without the body's help. At the very least, you need to learn how it feels to relax the body. Because you will not attain any kind of supramundane levels of awakening. Anything that is beyond the mundane, if your body's still tight, and that includes your muscles, your eyes, your tongue, your facial muscles, your back muscles, your hands, your gut, your legs, your toes, the back of the skull, your throat. All these are part of the body, of course. But when was the last time you've actually felt the center of your palms? Or the back of your neck, or your shoulders? Can you check right now, as you're listening to this, if your shoulders are somewhat tense? Can you give some room for your shoulders with the help of the elbows, if they could just relax? And how you're going to feel that is, you're going to notice that they will drop slightly. For this to happen, you need to relax the neck, the back of the neck. You will not be able to enter any kind of a truly deep meditative state if the body is experiencing some strife, some tension. But in order for that to happen, the person must relinquish the hold that the thoughts have on you. And that release, that relaxation in the brain, in the mind, specifically by your ungrabbing or no longer grasping, no longer holding on to that thought, whatever it may be. It could be a memory, it could be an idea. The moment you do that, there's a release. And depending on how much you allow that to deepen, it could be taking less than a few seconds, by the way. When it's genuinely being released, there's an experience of, in Buddhism, we call it piti. It's a spiritual joy. Piti manasa kayang pasambati. When the mind experiences that joy, suddenly there is this soothing, shower-like state of spreading relaxation throughout the body. You will feel it throughout the pores of your skin, all around your body. Pasaddha kayo sukhang vediyati. When the body becomes tranquil, you will notice that happiness suddenly gets to be magnified, and it's spreading, and it's like proliferating. Like bubbles, joyful bubbles throughout, going even into your bones, to your fingertips. It's called sukha, feeling of ease, happiness. Sukhino chittang samadhiyati. That happiness overwhelms the heart. Not in a bad way, overwhelms, but it spreads. And because of that, the mind, the heart settles into a concentrative, collected, stable mode of being. And there's no struggle. There's no tension. Samahite chitte Dhamma patu bhavo. Suddenly you start seeing the Dhamma. Suddenly things start falling into place. Your mind becomes clear and able to see these truths that you've heard. Things about life, things about just, even if this is the first time you're hearing about this. Suddenly it falls into, it's just like perfectly, it fits. And you know the truth of it. Why? Lord Buddha says, Samahite chitte yata bhutang pajanati. Suddenly you're able to comprehend, understand deeply and penetrate by observing the way things are, the way things come to be, without your adding of anything to it. So the body, the heart, the mind, all work in unison, beautifully. Beautifully. So thoughts are there. to help us, not to become a burden. Because thoughts themselves will not give us the experience of Nibbana. It's impossible. Because thoughts are conditioned. So what we can do is, of course, use some bit of these thoughts. Of course, what I'm talking about are just, it's the product of, in a sense, we're working with thoughts right now. I'm expressing ideas. You're on the other side, taking these ideas, some of them, all of them, whatever, process. All this is thoughts, the work of thoughts. But there needs to be a mechanism in place where you allow the thoughts to work to a certain extent, and then you release your fingers, your grasp. You don't become sticky-fingered. Use them, the thoughts. Don't let them dominate your life. That's not why they're there. It's a tool. The thinking that we have is a tool to help us to guide to the right entrance. And the right entrance is a state of understanding that comes when these different aspects of you come together with a sense of maturity, appreciation of your body, the mind, working together for the same goal, which is to experience peace and happiness, sukha, which is the opposite of experiencing dukkha, pain, suffering. So you don't fight with yourself anymore. So include your body into your practice, into your spiritual practice. You don't have to go out and do this and do that and jump and this, that, torture your body, torture your brain, torture your mind in order for you to get something worthwhile. No. You can start now. But you're just checking in and then checking in with your body, and then developing a healthier relationship with it, with your body. Using the mind properly, with wisdom, will get you out of suffering. So long as you use it as a tool, your thoughts, your mind.